This is Umar for BoxNation. It's been a while since I've caught up with Frank Warren at his headquarters here. I know you've been under the weather a bit, so good to see you're still surviving, although you've got that cough still, Frank.
Yeah, I just can't shake it up. I think it's all the travelling doing me in. But yeah, all good. Thank you, mate.
Well, listen, there's a lot to go through here. I know you've had catch-ups recently with Daniel Dubois and Hamzah Sheeraz. We'll come on to that in due course. Joe Joyce is going to have a replacement opponent because Dillian Whyte, unfortunately, has busted his finger up. So we'll speak about that. Nick Ball's got his fight coming up this weekend. But the place I want to start with is the announcement we had last week with TKO, Nick Khan, Dana White and His Excellency Turki Alalshikh. They announced a partnership, TKO Promotions, will launch. We weren't given too many details, but were you aware of this partnership coming, Frank?
Yeah. There's been a lot of talk about it. Which I've been party to some of the conversations. Yeah.
Okay, your opening thoughts on it?
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? It's a really good situation. Obviously, it's focusing on the American market, and we'll see what happens.
Do you say it's a good thing because anytime there's investment, it's a positive for boxing?
I think that's always a positive for boxing. I really do. I believe that, and I've always been a supporter of anybody investing into boxing. We're very, I don't want to see the sport dwindle. I want to see it grow. And it needs, in America, I think it needs a kick up the backside.
Okay. There were some sort of pertinent things to take from their press release. As I said, there wasn't too many details on how the structure will work or when events will start, etc. But it was very clear from Dana White that he wants to overhaul the system. And what I mean by that is that the WBA, WBO, WBC and IBF, he no longer wants to recognise them. They're going to have one belt in each weight class. They want, from what I've heard, 8 weight classes. And I said one belt per weight class. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's his view, and that's his vision, and obviously get on with it, and we'll see where that goes. I mean, I've sort of been doing this for 47 years now, so for me the weight classes have evolved. I mean, when I got into boxing, there was no super middleweights. They were 15-round fights, and most of these weight classes that have come in due to the boxers' welfare and well-being. Fighters who struggled to make weight, instead of going up, 14 pounds or a stone, as we call it in the UK, in weight, there's been gaps in between, and that's helped. For a guy, say, for example, who's fighting at middleweight, to go up and fight at light heavyweight, where he may be struggling at middleweight, he may then be at a disadvantage is fighting at light heavyweight because he's not big enough, and that weight in between super middleweight, which has been a great weight for boxing. We've had, certainly for Britain, we've had some great fights and great fighters over the years in that division. I'm all for it. The weigh-ins on days of shows has changed. They have the weigh-ins the day before the show, and the main reason for that is dehydration. And dehydration is all about boxers making weight. The brain sits in fluid. If you get dehydrated, you lose that fluid, and that becomes a serious danger to the boxer. So the weight divisions, I am very, very comfortable where we are with those at the moment.
Okay, so I hear your point about the weight classes and safety of fighters in regards to that. But in terms of the belt, so the advantage that strikes out to me of having one belt per weight class is the whole world knows that is the world champion and that's it. You also won't get your sort of interim titles, your gold belts. There won't be, sanctioning bodies pressing for mandatories. So from that perspective, what would your counter argument be to that in terms of having 4 belts?
I don't need a counter argument. It's worked. It's worked over the years. We know who the best number 1 heavyweight is, according to everybody, based off of the official result of a fight card recently, and that's Usyk. We know that Inu is. There's quite a few guys out there who are considered to be the best. And the reason, I think there's too many governing bodies, by the way, but the reason governing bodies, there are more than one, is because it gave boxers an option. It gave them an option. And, and I like the idea, there's only one belt, there's only one champion. And I like the idea that if somebody like Tyson and Usyk was a big fight that took for a while, to get on, but eventually it got on, and that was the two best in their divisions, both going in there with equal parity as far as they each had a belt, which financially made it work for them. And we now know who's the guy at the moment who's considered to be the best heavyweight in the world. I'm up for that. You know, how many boxers are there in the world?
Thousands.
That's what I mean. So, you know, and those boxers, I mean, obviously there's only going to be a small amount of them ever going to challenge or fight for a world title. But, you know, everybody deserves their chance. I've grown up through that system. My belief is and it's worked, and no one's going to change my mind on it, is that young fighters need to be nurtured, brought through correctly. In this country, we normally do it with the boxer turning pro. He'll do his 4-rounders, his 6-rounders, his 8-rounders, 10-rounders. He'll fight for some junior title. He'll fight for maybe an English title. He'll fight for the British title, the Commonwealth title, the European and the world title. And he learns his grounding. That's the most important thing. He learns his grounding. And more importantly, for me, the way I see it and the way I do things, I can make his matches and guide him and build his career.
Lastly, to close off on this segment, I know the answer to this, but I just want you to clarify it for the viewers. So we know Canelo Alvarez and William Skull's coming up May 3rd.
At super middleweight.
Yes, correct. Yeah, for the undisputed title. May 3rd, Riyadh. As I said, I know the answer. Everything with Queensberry and Riyadh season continues as normal, Frank?
Absolutely it does. Why shouldn't it? We've had a relationship from day one, and Queensberry set all the press conference and everything up, and all of what was needed to be done at the press conference in New York. And we'll do the same as we've done for all the shows in Riyadh. That's our position.
So that's a working relationship and personally with His Excellency?
Well, it's been great for us. We've got a great relationship with them. Why, nothing's changed at all. And I'm looking forward. We've had a fabulous time, really good. We're in a really, as a promotional business, we're in a fabulous position and have been because of the hard work we've put in certainly over the last 6 or 7 years in building to where we're at. I mean, for example, Daniel Dubois didn't sign pro with us a year ago. He turned pro with us 9 years ago, and we've been sponsoring him before that. Same with Moses. Moses now his third year involvement with us. And and quite a few other fighters besides that. Nick Ball.
There's, as I said, a lot to go through here. Firstly, let's start with Dillian Whyte. It was a big shame about his injury. I saw he went on TalkSport and showed kind of pictures of his finger, which was in a bad way. A blow, obviously, for your April 5th show.
Yeah, I mean, it was our first show on DAZN, but we've got a fantastic card, and we have an opponent. We'll be making an announcement, which I think is I'm not saying it's an even better fight, but it's a bloody good fight for Joe. Tough fight, but we got a replacement.
Okay, there were rumours of Filip Hrgović, so
well, all will be revealed, but no one will be disappointed, I promise you.
Okay, so with Dillian Whyte, then, when are we looking to get him out? Have you had conversations with his team?
No, I don't know. When he's ready, we'll find out. When he's ready, we'll work it out. We have, he's obviously got his injury's got to heal.
Okay. Right, we've seen a lot happen with the heavyweight division in recent times. Obviously, what I'm referring to here is Daniel Dubois pulling out because the board said you can't fight. Joseph Parker then took on Martin Bakole. That leaves questions around what's next for Joseph Parker, what's next for Daniel Dubois. Are we gearing towards Usyk Dubois 2, though, Frank?
We're gearing to announce a big fight for Daniel, and we will be announcing that fairly soon. I think within the next 2 or 3 weeks. And the same for Joe Parker. They're in great positions. Joe Parker's now the interim champion, WBO interim champion, and that makes him the mandatory to Mr. Usyk. So he's in a great position.
Okay. You expect that fight to be in the UK for Daniel?
Daniel?
Yeah.
I think his next fight will probably be in the UK, yeah.
Okay, looks like we're heading to a stadium then.
Well, we'll see.
Joseph Parker then, there could be a Joshua rematch, a fight with Ajit Kabayel. These are all big fights. What's the latest with Joseph Parker, Frank?
Joseph Parker, as I just said, he's in that position, and we'll be announcing a fight for him as well in due course.
Okay.
They'll be all out there. All these guys are going to be fighting over the summer.
if it's not a title shot next for Joseph, and I don't know that, but if it's not, that fight after, can you guys guarantee him a title shot? Because he thoroughly deserves it.
He is in the position of being the interim WBO champion, and he is a mandatory. And the next mandatory due to Usyk is the WBO, so he's in a good position. He's a Queensberry fighter, and he's in a good position.
Okay. So you said Dubois announcement probably, in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah.
And same with Parker? Or
Yep.
Not? Okay. Ajit Kabayel?
Yep. Same thing. They're all going to be busy, and they're all in great positions. They've all been guided well and been put in fights that are meaningful fights that have given them all an opportunity to fight for their fight in either to fight the champion, or if the champion vacates, for a vacant belt. They're in great position, which would then lead on to even bigger fights.
Fabio Wardley and Kubrat Pulev for the WBA regular. What's the latest with that, Frank?
Yep, that's been put out by the WBA. So we're working on that, and we expect an announcement again on that. That fight will happen.
Moses Italma, again, latest on him?
Moses, I'm hoping we'll be making an announcement tomorrow about Moses.
Wow. So you're saying with the next 2 or 3 weeks, all your heavyweight roster,
all the heavyweights are out there. You know, that's what I've said to you all along. That's what we do. All the heavyweights are being kept busy. They're not sitting on their asses. They're being kept busy.
Well, Tyson's actually going to be busy as well because he's doing soccer.
Yeah, he's the joint manager of England.
Yeah, with Wayne Rooney, I believe. Yeah. That announcement they put out obviously fooled quite a lot of people.
It did. It's a good tease.
But yeah, you're glad for him on a personal note that he's got, keep him busy with life.
Yeah, he's got a lot of things. He's got some even bigger things happening in his life, which is great. He's got his life after boxing for him, and it's fabulous for him.
Right, Frank, I haven't actually spoke to you since Chris Eubank Jr. slapped an egg around Conor Benn. He's been fined $100,000 by the board since that. As I said, I haven't spoke to you since both press conferences, one in Manchester, one was at Tottenham. The ground you hate very much. What did you make of those press conferences, both of them?
What did I make of them? They were what they were.
So when you saw Chris Eubank Jr. slap an egg around Conor Benn, you didn't have any thoughts? Or
do I have any thoughts? It's a stupid thing to do, but he did it.
And a $100,000 fine is...
It's cost him $100,000. He's happy with that. Good luck to him.
Okay, what do you think about the fight itself?
Well, my mind's not changed from the first time when it was going to be on. I'm not, it's a fight between two guys that have got a lot of rivalry, and there's a lot of history, obviously, between the families, the fathers, and so forth. So it's captured the public's imagination, and that was always going to be the case. But I've got two fighters who have beat both of them.
Hamzah and Denzel.
Yep.
Do you want Conor Benn to win?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that, to be honest.
Yeah, I do. I don't want to lie about it. Of course, I hope he knocks him over.
And the rehydration clause, what's your thoughts on that?
That's an important aspect of a fight, especially when there's weight disparities and so forth. As long as it conforms with the British Boxing Board of Control's guidelines, then fair enough. That's good.
Okay. On to Hamzah Sheeraz. You had a meeting with him in here a couple of weeks ago. Firstly, how was his hand?
His hand is, it's Ramadan at the moment, so he's resting up. But his hand was still in a bit of a state. And that just like a process that he'll be out in the summer. But he won't be fighting at middleweight anymore. He'll go up a weight because he can't make that weight anymore. And I think that's very evident in the fight.
Okay, so he's going straight up to super middleweight.
Yeah, you have to. He can't make middleweight anymore.
So did you know about some weight issues during the week?
No, I didn't. I didn't know he was struggling a bit to make the weight. But common sense tells you he must be finding it hard to make the weight. You only got to look at the size of him compared with other guys with middleweights. He looks like a light heavyweight in height and build, and it's difficult. And I think that whether that affected I'm sure it affected him some way, his performance. But his hand was impaired with his hand, and he was lucky to get the draw. So we can't allow that to happen again.
Do you know when he can punch again or not?
Well, not till his hand heals.
Yeah, but do you know, have you been given...
No, I don't know. He won't fight till the summer. It's a healing process.
Okay. super middleweight division, obviously Canelo and Skull are contesting for all the belts.
Yeah. There's another prime example of a junior weight division.
So a belt becomes vacant and Hamzah fights for it, essentially.
No, you're fighting at 12 stone because Scully obviously wouldn't be able to go up to light heavyweight, would he?
No.
And that's why it's been made at that weight.
Okay. So what did Hamzah say to you about his performance against Adames?
He was disappointed. He just said he just didn't feel he was there. He said he was struggling a bit, and obviously the weight played a part of that. It's not an excuse. Listen, it was a close fight. At the end of the day, it was a close fight. Even if a lot of people do think that Adames won the fight, and I can see where they're coming from. But it was a close fight, and it wasn't a disgrace or anything. But he definitely was impaired, and if there weren't a problem, then he would still be fighting a middleweight. He has to go up in weight. He was a head taller than Adames.
I saw on Sky Sports yesterday that Callum Simpson and Ben Shalom called out Hamzah Sheeraz for a fight. Did you see
Who did?
that? Callum Simpson.
I ain't got a problem with that.
Yeah?
No, I ain't got a problem with that. But we'll see. What weight is he at? What's he?
Super middle.
At super middle. Well, let's see.
Okay.
I ain't got a problem. I mean, listen, I like fighting Ben Shalom's fighters.
Why is that?
Why do you think?
Frank, Dennis McCann, this seems to be dragging out. There's no news. So what is the latest?
There is no news. We're waiting. I had a conversation with him yesterday. We're waiting for UCAD. There are some other issues there to be sorted out. And it's a process that you go through. They're not there to. He wants it to be heard as soon as possible. So do we, because he wants to. He says he's not guilty. He can prove he's not guilty. He wants to get back in the ring. And the quicker the hearing takes place, the quicker we get a decision. But it doesn't work like that. It's a process.
Okay. I haven't spoke to you as well since Ryan Garner had his victory in Bournemouth. Big crowd there for him.
Big crowd, us taking it on the road and doing well down there. And bloody hell, didn't he box well? Superb performance. All those years where, I'm pleased to say that the belief we had in him is being, it's being shown now what a great fighter he can be.
Yeah, I mean, what is he, one fight away from a world title?
I think you're not far off of that, yeah. Be great if we can do it down at St Mary's, Southampton's ground.
Is that realistic? Yeah.
Yeah, if we can make the fight and he's ready for it, certainly.
A fight on the undercard that I'd like to see on that is Lewis Edmondson v Ezra Taylor.
Yeah, I'd like to see that as well. That's bubbling, isn't it?
Or maybe it just headlines its own card.
Well, yeah, but it's a fight that's bubbling, and it's certainly one I think that we can make it between us all.
Both are very confident. What did you make of Lewis the other night?
I think he boxed well within himself and done what he had to do. He's, you know what his style is. He's a smart boxer, and I think their styles will make, because they're different styles. I think it will make it a very competitive fight. Yeah,
I think Ezra would probably be the aggressor in that fight.
Of course he will. That's his style, and it'd be. I'm not saying a bull and a matador, but it'll be that's what it'd be. But it will make a good fight.
Do you think we see that next for both of them?
I hope so. That's what I'd like to see.
Okay. Because if you keep them in the same room anymore and they're not having a contracted fight, we might see one between the pair of them.
Yeah, exactly.
This Saturday, your last show with TNT Sports, we'll discuss that in a bit in terms about the deal and how much of a success it's been over the last 5-6 years. But Nick Ball goes in with TJ Doheny. What do you make of this clash for Nick?
It's a good fight for Nick. It's a winnable fight. I think he's the best featherweight out there. I think it's a toss-up of a coin who's the best British fighter in this country at the moment, out of him and Daniel Dubois. And he's done brilliantly. He's done absolutely brilliantly, and I'm really proud of what he's done. And his home city, they're coming out and supporting him. They did last time, and they're doing it again this time. It's going to be a great atmosphere there, and I believe that he will hopefully prevails. I'm looking at sometime maybe at the end of the year that he winds up fighting Inoue. I really do like that fight for him.
Okay, so one more for the pair of them, and then hopefully we see Inoue Ball. Yeah.
No, it won't be straight away. I mean, he's going to fight before the end of the year. We're in March, and by Newey will be the end. If it happens, will be at the end of the year. So he's not going to sit on his backside. He likes to keep busy.
Okay. Charlie Edwards returns on
Good fight, isn't
it?
it? Yeah. Brad. I mean, I'm really looking forward to that fight with him and Andrew. I think it's a cracker of a fight.
We know what Andrew Kane does. He leaves it out there all the time. He's aggressive. He'll make you work hard. But Charlie, we haven't seen it for a while at the top level because he's been kind of inactive at the top level. But when he was at the top level, we've seen how much of a classy operator he is.
He's a quality fighter. He's really got a great boxing brain, and it's going to be a really good fight. I mean, he's really up for it. They're both up for it. And it's an important fight for both of them. Neither of them want to lose the fight. It takes them to the next level. And we'll see what Charlie's got left. If he's, and certainly as far as Andrew's concerned, all he wants to do is emphasise that he should be up there and fighting for a world title soon.
A fight not to miss on that is Brad Strand v. Onat Baluta.
That's a cracker of a fight as well. Brad's come back, hasn't he? Had that loss, he's come back, and this is a good test for him.
He's got to beat Baluta, really.
Yeah, and Baluta comes to fight. You know that he's caused a few upsets on the way, so it'd be quite interesting.
Bit emotional, Frank, because I know we're onto massive things from April with DAZN. It's a long-term deal, and I'm sure your fighters are very excited about that, as you will be. But the run with initially BT Sports and then which turned into TNT has been incredible. I think of the Tyson Fury nights, some of the stadium shows you've done as well. Bit of a sad way to go out.
Yeah, in some ways it is. I mean, we started off where they had no boxing, and I think by the time we left, what we said we'd do, we did, and I think we put it become the premier boxing channel in the UK. No doubt about that. But all of that now transfers over to DAZN. That's where we're going. And it is sad. A lot of friends there who we worked with throughout that period of time. Some are still there, some have left. We've had great relationship. It's been a privilege and a pleasure. And we move on now.
Yeah, you move on, as I said, to DAZN. April 5th is the first show in Manchester. I guess that long-term deal fills you with a lot of security with DAZN.
It's not just security. It's the same as the long-term deal we've had with most of our broadcasters over the years. It's all about having a plan that you can say, right, over the next period of time, this period of years, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we need to do to get it, in the next 3 years, 4 years, to get these fighters from there to the top, and planning it all out. And that is how we operate strategically, to bring the fighters that we sign up with, certainly the ones that come with us from the beginning, to bring them through, to ground them, and take them through that process, as I mentioned earlier to you in the interview, where you're fighting for the respective titles, getting the education, learning what the game's about. Boxers' careers can be a long career. A good fighter can be there for 12 years, 10 years. And certainly youngsters need grounding, and it's a learning process. It's very easy to throw guys just in the deep end. Anyone could do that, but that's not what we're about. It's about building and learning. It's like, if you're a carpenter, they don't just say, right, there you are, go and make a copy of this Chippendale chair. You have to learn your trade, and it takes time. You do your apprenticeship.
What do you make of the broadcast landscape at the moment? Because yourselves are going to be on DAZN from next month. We know Matchroom are on DAZN. I'm talking about the UK at the moment. Ben Shalom has confirmed that Boxer are going to renew their deal with Sky. So the UK seems in a healthy place. I don't know what TNT are going to do, but there's a lot of investment, and boxing's healthy in the UK.
It's been in a healthy place for a long time in the UK.
The US, we've seen recently, Showtime, HBO leave the market. Top Rank's deal with ESPN is due to end very soon. There are rumours that TKO will announce a broadcast deal with ESPN. That's not confirmed, but that's what rumours are. What do you make of the landscape in America, Frank?
America needs livening up. Eddie promotes in America. Oscar's there. There's still a lot going on, but it's the sort of landscape's changed a bit over the years. but it can be. I think it can be revitalised, and I think there's a lot of things happening that will make that happen. That will make that actually happen, which is great for boxing. It's great for everybody.
Where we've come on to is kind of like brought me back to what we started talking about, and if there's opportunities for your fighters that you feel are valuable, and there's even opportunities for you to work with TKO in the future, whether that's in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, do you welcome that, Frank?
You've done it with everybody. Always done that from day one. I'd fight us here if there was a good opportunity in America. We'd do them. We'd do the fight. Done with Bob Arum, done them with PBC. We've done them with Don King. I've been doing that since I started out, from the very early 80s with them. I don't know. That won't change. That won't change at all. Of course not.
And with yourselves, I mean, having basically the heavyweight stable on lock, a lot of the best British talent and some world talent as well. And, for the other promoters who have the supply of fighters, which is what I'm referring to, with the TKO move, how do you see themselves going about that? Because obviously the fighters are under contract.
How do I see them going?
If they want to create a league, right, for boxing?
I don't know. I mean, all I know is that's what they're create. How they're going to do it, I have no idea, and I'm not even going to try and even guess whatever they're going to do. They're going to do. All I do is focus on what we do. In the heavyweight division, every one of the mandatory challengers to Usyk are with Queensberry. Every single one of them.
Parker, Caballero, Akoli's just been stated as number 1 with the BC. Obviously, Daniel's a champion with the IBF.
Yeah. So, the heavyweight division is really lively. There's going to be some good fights that are going to happen. Some really good fights. And quality fights. The best fighting the best.
Okay. Well, listen, Frank, I appreciate your time. Are you looking forward to tonight or not? Because you're through, basically, so...
It's a bit of an anticlimax, but I prefer us to be through anyway. I mean, that's a bit. I mean, last week was unbelievable, wasn't it? For 7 goals, but I mean, Sunday was like banging your head on the wall.
Would that be like the biggest calamity ever if you messed it up tonight?
Well, if they messed it up tonight, I don't think I'll ever go again.
They better not mess up.
6-goal cushion. Jesus, come on.
Well, listen, Frank, appreciate your time today. Is there anything you want to leave with?
No, I'm just saying how exciting boxing is at the moment. It's a great sport. It's a brilliant sport. And in the UK, it's thriving in a big, big way, as it is in the Middle East as well.
Still believe Riyadh's the capital at the moment?
Yeah, of course it is, where a big fight's taking place.
We'll be there for Canelo Skull.
There's a Canelo making his debut there. It's going to be great.
Absolutely. Frank, appreciate your time, and I'll catch up with you soon.
All the best.